Hey guys, how are you? All right, I need some input. Can you guys see me? And can you hear me? Make me a moderator if you want to deal with the trolls. I have no clue. Like, usually my producer who's not here is the moderator, so I don't know how to make moderators. This is all still fairly new to me. Hello, Christopher Bishop. Hello. Rachel Wilson, how are you? You made up that last quote? The second half? Can you guys see and hear me okay? Yes. Beautiful. All right, how are you guys doing? How's the I don't know, imprisonment? I don't know what this is at this point. Something. Self-torture. Hello, Haken Engman from Amsterdam. Loud and clear. Captain Brandon Horror Lover, how are you? So I have some, well, I'll just talk some stuff while everyone joins in. Yeah, it is a lockdown. It is a lockdown, Art Helm. I'm not liking this at all. But it seems for the most part, Canadians want more and more and more of this. You know? Hi there, Skull. Super. Yes, I'm good. How are you? All right. So I was able to enable monetization for my channel. I have no clue. I haven't seen any ads before my videos yet, so I don't know. Like, they told me it was okay. I enabled Super Chat for this live stream. So I guess if somebody donates, I'm going to find out if it's working or not. I'm okay, Captain Brandon. You know, same old, same old. I've got a bit of a sniffle going on. Nothing crazy. Nothing like the illness I had a few weeks ago. Just like I'm sneezing. I'm like a head cold kind of thing. But I'm taking my vitamin D. I'm taking some vitamin C. You know, doing what I can do to strengthen my own immunity and not look like a freak in public. Wearing face masks and gloves and just, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I really have big issues with face masks. But that's a bias that I have from growing up under Islam, you know. I'll never wear a face mask. I just won't. I won't do it. I won't. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today, how's the weather? It's shit. It's always gloomy and raining. You know, when I lived in England, I lived in London, and this was the weather. It was very similar to this. So, whatever. It's better than 60 plus degrees desert, right? Where you get like burnt alive every day. Wanted to talk to you guys today about being disowned. This term is new, is foreign, I guess, for Canadians, for people in the West in general. I don't know if you know people who have been disowned, if you have friends who state that they've been disowned. But whenever I use this word, it almost like I get it has a bit of a shock factor. Like every time when somebody asks me, oh, are you in touch with your family? Do you talk with your family? And I say, well, no, I'm disowned. There's a minute of like a pause where they don't know what to say, so they just change the subject. I don't say this word to create the shock factor, and I don't say it to kind of stand out or to get, you know, sympathy or to be a victim. I don't say it for that. It's a fact. I'm disowned. But I don't think people here in Canada and in the West in general understand why there are ex-Muslims. There's very few ex-Muslims that are not disowned. Some are not disowned and their families are fine with them being ex-Muslim. I don't know how, especially if the family remains, in the ideology itself. So I've known a few ex-Muslims who say that their families are okay and they talk to them and they love them and everything is fine and dandy. So I guess good for them. That's not the case for me and for many other people who have walked away from Islam, because we don't all sort of identify or label ourselves as ex-Muslims. So why does this happen? Why is this a common scenario with people who walk away from the ideology? We end up being disowned completely by our families, by our relatives, by our tribes. I'm just going to check the chat here real quickly. Have you seen Amazing Polly's latest video? She says the same thing. Says the same thing about being disowned? Paul Delaney? My father, Captain Brandon Harlover, my father is Catholic, but I quietly don't really believe, to each their own. Well, and that's fine. It's different in Islam because we have to pray 5 times a day and it's obligatory. And you have to fast during Ramadan and it's obligatory. And you have to perform pilgrimage once in your lifetime and it's obligatory. And you have to perform zakah, which is where you give to these fake charities so that they can take the money and give it to terrorists. You have to do all this stuff. And if you don't do it because you've left the ideology, people notice and you get punished, you get disciplined. The authorities will eventually find you and you'll pay the price. It's not as easy in the Islamic world, if you may. So the reason now for me, I was disowned by my father before I left Saudi Arabia. He disowned me and gave my ownership to my brother because we are owned. As women, we are owned. In Islam, a woman doesn't have her own identity. She doesn't have her autonomy. She has to be attached to a male, be it a brother, a father, a husband, a son. He has to own a penis. The person in charge of us has to own a penis. How's that? So for me, I was disowned before I left, and after I left, I was completely disowned by the rest of my family, including my own siblings. The reason they do this, I kind of understand it, and I'm not saying it's okay. It's a horrible, horrific thing to do to your own blood, right? But I understand why it needs to get done. In Islamist societies, like, say, Saudi Arabia or Iran, I am considered a black sheep, and I am plaguing the family name, literally. I am. I'm muddying the family name because I carry my father's name. And when I behave poorly or when I do things and word comes out, and authorities find out, it reflects really bad on the males in the family. One second, I gotta read something. Marcus Tanbeck, one godless woman. My grandfather came from a strict Christian missionary community, and he had nothing nice to say about the social control and the cancel culture when you disagreed. Probably. Now, Christianity, I'm not religious. I go to church here sometimes. Just to socialize for me. And I love the decor of the church. I don't go there for religion. I go there just because I don't like looking at mosques, and I like the different atmosphere in a church. I've yet to go into a synagogue because I don't know what the rules are there. I know churches tend to be open for everyone. I don't know much about synagogues. So if I can go into a synagogue, I will, just to look and observe. But right now, Christianity seems to have become more lenient. None of this exists now. Whereas right now in Islam, this is still the issue. You can get beheaded, killed, flogged, whatever you want to call it, if you leave the ideology and you don't repent. In fact, the punishment for people who leave the ideology is imprisonment for 3 days. They can't be let free. You have to capture them, you have to put them in jail for 3 full days, and you have to perform da'wah to get them to convert back into Islam. So the imam or whoever has to go in to this person in prison and continuously perform da'wah for them to come back to the ideology. If they refuse, after 3 days of imprisonment and continuous da'wah to go back, repent and go back to Islam, then they get killed. That's how it works. Let me just quickly check that chat. Captain Brandon Horror Lover, yeah, I had a Jewish family I knew of during my middle school days, and I was friends with 2 Jews, but I also never went into a synagogue. They might have strict rules as well. Now, mind you, having said that, I've never heard anything as devastating coming out from any Jewish community as the stories that you hear coming out from people who leave Islam. So for me, let me just talk about me instead of generalizing and talking about other ex-Muslims or other people who leave Islam, because I don't want to talk for other people. I can only speak for myself. For me, when I left, and I left my family, and then I wrote my blog, and I openly left the ideology, I began being persecuted from there. They began persecuting me from over there, especially the activists. I had women, I had men. They even called up the Saudi embassy in Ottawa, specifically giving them my name, requesting that I get deported back to Saudi Arabia so that I can be punished there. So my family needs to distance itself from me. They need to completely disown me, publicly as well as in private, to protect themselves from persecution as well as prosecution. Because if I'm not there to be captured and jailed and all the lovely things that they want to do to me, they're going to go do this to my family. So I do understand the need in these strict Islamist societies to openly disown your own blood if you disagree with them, or if they have crossed the line ideologically to a point where it has completely become irreconcilable. And at that stage, it's considered blasphemy. Where I come from, the punishment for blasphemy is death. I'll quickly check the chat and see what you guys have to say. Easy. Allah, the most merciful, wants your head off your shoulders. Yeah, he likes that. He's a big fan of beheadings. Kind of like the Red Queen from, is it the Red Queen? From Alice in Wonderland? Off with their heads. That was her phrase. If the God would have a saying or a phrase, it would be that one. Allah, not God, Allah. Suzanne Stack, please do contact a local rabbi and religious groups. That's a lovely idea. I really appreciate that. I might actually look into doing that. Thank you. There's a synagogue close to me. It's just out of respect that I haven't contacted anyone. But you're right. I should probably do that. Yeah, that's why Sam Harris, who learned about Islamists, call it the death cult. This is true. That is very, very true. All right. So where was I? So nobody persecutes my family or prosecutes them, which is highly likely to happen. And in the first few months after I wrote my blog, I had a little bit, my sister reached out to me through social media. And she told me that there were constant phone calls to the point that they had to change the phone number, the house number, multiple times. They spoke to my family, like all of them, my father, my sister, were demanding to know where I am. And, there's punishment that needs to happen here. They were very aggressive with them. So what ends up happening is the family itself has to distance itself. They just have to say, look, we've disowned this woman. We know nothing about her. And if we see her, we'll hurt her more than you want to hurt her. So it kind of clears, if you can think of it as, it clears the family name. And that's important in these cultures. All right, back to the chat. Let's see what you guys are talking about. So, oh my gosh, I can't even pronounce that name. Wadiwala, you did not even welcomed me being disowned? What? Being new to your page, dear. Okay, well, welcome. Thank you for joining. Patricia K, how do you personally feel about being disowned? I'm okay with it. What am I going to do? They don't want me. I'm a little shit. Shit disturber. I understand it. As awful as this sounds, I get it. They don't have much of a choice. They live in an Islamist society. Imagine, I mean, it's not to the degree of ISIS, but it can get to that degree in Saudi Arabia. Imagine an ISIS leader coming and telling you, threatening you, or you have to answer to this person. You really don't have an outlet. So I get it. Am I angry at them? No, I'm not. I'm not angry at my family. I don't hate my family. I realized that I was extremely rebellious growing up. I put myself in harm's way because a lot of things weren't explained to me. I was angry because a lot of things weren't explained to me. There was significant hypocrisy in the society and the ideology that I was ordered to follow its laws and its rules. So if they were okay with it, emotion will eat you alive. So I couldn't live my entire life being angry at my family. At some point you have to let it go. I don't even think of them. And I can't really say if I've forgiven them or how I feel about them. I don't wish them harm. I know that much. What else are you guys saying? Maria A, can you elaborate regarding da'wah? Da'wah means, da'wah is what Islamists do to ideologically subvert everyone, including the West. So you guys here in the West have been, and still are, undergoing they're pumping significant amount of da'wah into mainstream, into social media. So when I created an account on TikTok. I spoke of this. Please do not download TikTok. Please don't. There's questionable, there's question about it being spyware, Chinese spyware. Downloaded TikTok. There's accounts on this app. TikTok is very engaging. It's fun. It's an addictive app, and the youth gets drawn to it. In fact, it's so addictive that even the 30 plus group get addicted to this app. There are accounts on this app that put out beautiful, high-end, well-produced videos promoting hijab, promoting niqab, promoting Islam. This is da'wah. They're making it sound like amazing, and they promise you the world, they promise you money, they promise you the afterlife. They make it sound like if you're not gonna join us, you're really missing out. That's da'wah. So that's what they do with ex-Muslims or people who leave the ideology. When they're imprisoned, it's not as nice when they're in jail. It's fairly heavy duty and it's pushed. And they are doing it with the goal that this person will convert back into Islam. So they really go full, like hardcore da'wah. So that's what that means. Sarah Ash, has anyone read Ayan Hirsi Ali? You will understand where Iman is coming from. Yes, that's a good comment. Thank you for that. Ayan Hirsi Ali is on the same page as many other people who walked away from this ideology. Suzanne Stack, every human has the ability to be mean and cruel. Choosing to be a good, peaceful, enlightened, and gentle person is difficult in an environment of evil and hate, especially when hugely rewarded not to. Yes, this is true. Now, when I was in Saudi Arabia being brutalized by my family, by the religious authorities, by the public, by the ideology itself, I can't say that I was very peaceful and happy. I was very angry. In fact, when I was on the plane leaving Saudi Arabia, the minute the plane took off, I cried, but then I swore that I would never go back. I just swore. I was so angry. So you need to distance yourself from that environment to calm down. And that's what I did. Now, I also want to talk about what state the women and girls are in who don't have a male relative to look after them. So when I was in med school, I had a classmate. This classmate she had no male anything. Her father was dead. She did not have any uncles. She did not have any brothers. She did not have any male children. She wasn't married. So it was just her and her mom and her twin sister. So 3 women with no male figure who needed to go about their daily lives in Saudi Arabia. And this is something probably people don't think about. This is near impossible. It's near impossible to function in an Islamist society without having a male guardian. So I wanted to talk to you guys about what happens to the women and girls who are in a situation all of a sudden when there's no man looking after them. No man owns them. Let me just check the discussion real quick. Okay. Okay, I can't pronounce your name. In Saudi Arabia, as a Christian, I guess you were in Saudi Arabia as a Christian, it was hell. Yes, it would be. Because Christians, at least when I was there, Christians, especially Christians, were not allowed to practice their faith. And what would happen is Christians would congregate in an underground setting, like a room somewhere in a basement, and they would pray together, especially I guess around Easter or something like that. And there would always be a crackdown. Like the religious authorities would always perform a crackdown. These people are peaceful and they are praying in isolation. Yes, it's a group. It's not a huge group, but they're doing it alone, quietly. Really, honestly, no one would even have known that they were doing this. But what ends up happening is they get reported to the religious authorities, and the religious authorities raid that room. And it's announced the next day in the newspaper as if you would think they had raided like a drug thing, like people selling drugs or a brothel, or like they would make it sound horrific when you read about it in the newspaper. They would arrest all these people and deport them. Every last one of them would get deported. Now, I don't recall anyone getting beheaded per se for that, but who knows? Maybe. On chemicals. Okay. So I had a friend in med school who was in this dilemma. And I can't remember if it was she wanted to get married, she had a suitor, or what was going on, or if she wanted permission to work. Something happened and they needed a man. They needed a dude to get their paperwork and to do what it is they wanted to do. So what ended up happening is this girl, her twin sister, along with their mother, went to the local imam in their area. So the way it works in Islamist societies, I should probably say Saudi Arabia. The way it works in Saudi Arabia is government employees, the government at the ground level, the government people that deal directly with the public are Islamists. Every single one of them. The higher up government figures aren't. They have deals. They've made deals with the Wahhabis, treaties with the Islamists, so that the Islamists would leave them alone so that they can do their ruling thing. They are not Islamists. They're just Al Saud. Whereas the ones that operate closer to the public are all religious figures. She went to the local imam. They told him what the issue was. So the local imam had a meeting locally with his local peeps, all of which are Islamists or religious men. And then they adopt the women. They adopt them even the mother. They adopted her, or they took responsibility for these women as they own them. On paper, these women now belong to these local men. So any issue that these women have, let's say one of them wants to get married, they go to the imam, who is now their legal male guardian, and they introduce this person to the imam, and the imam then proceeds to see if this is a good fit for the women or not. Even though he knows nothing about these women, interaction is to a minimum with these women. He's not interested about anything personal to know about these women, but he gets to decide everything about their lives. Getting married, travel, work, health. That's how it works. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this is how it works in these types of society. Because not all women, not every woman's going to have a male figure. So we have to be owned. All right, back to the chat. Let's see what you guys are saying. Ask away. Matthew Davis, are you persecuted or harassed by people of the Islamic faith here in Canada? I don't interact with anyone, honestly. Unless I know like they're Westerners, I stay away. I stay away from the Muslim community, not because I'm an Islamophobe, because I lived in an Islamic community for almost 30 years. I didn't like it. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you know, but Tom Quiggin just released a really, really fascinating podcast on the Quiggin Report, and the title of it is Immigration Fraud Occurring in Canada. It taps into some of the things I was talking about as well. So please, if you don't follow the Quiggin Report, go follow it, download this episode, and listen to it, okay? Matthew Davis, thank you. You're welcome, my dear. Roger! Oh, Roger, you're not he. That is how Joseph got Mary. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Is it though? Marcus Tanbeck, proud Islamophobe. It is right to be phobic of jihad. I mean, they're not, the Muslim community, for the most part, when I came to Canada, there was a thriving Muslim community here in the province I'm in, and I lived in that area. I'm further away now, but I'm close to to them. I don't know. Like, I didn't come here to live in a Muslim community. What can I say? I came to Canada to live in the West. So I do tend to stay away, but not because of the garbage labels that your government has decided is why people stay away from Islamic communities. And for the most part, I don't know what it is. Like I interact with women, especially the ones wearing hijab. The ones who haven't been living here for a long time in the West. It will always pop up, this question. This question has to come up. Why aren't you wearing hijab? This is a very invasive, abrasive question. I don't like it. And when I get asked this question, it ruffles my feathers. And I don't really know how to answer it. Because it's so invasive. You know, it's almost as if someone you don't know coming in and asking you what your favorite sexual position is and how do you have sex. Like, would you sit there and engage this person, or just sort of wonder what is this? Why am I being asked this? What's the deal? And why do I have a question? Why is it Westerners in general and Canadians have this fascination with Islam? I want to know why. Tell me, what is the fascination that you guys have with this ideology? Is the da'wah working that they are performing on you? Captain Brandon Horror Lover, you're an inspiration, one Godless. My good friend. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to hear good things instead of the attacks that I usually get. Shobin Thomas, I feel for you. Well, thank you. Again, I'm not trying to invoke sympathy and or empathy, guys. I'm just, what I feel is that a lot of people living here in Canada don't understand what's this culture, this ideology that's come in. Like, for me, I keep hearing people saying, one godless woman, you need Jesus, you need God and your name, and I get shamed about the name that I've given myself, which is one godless woman, because the backstory is missing. You guys don't know that I was abducted in the middle of broad daylight because I was with a boy who wasn't related to me, that I was imprisoned for 3 months after I was framed, that I was sentenced to 80 lashes, that while I was in prison, I was mentally abused, tortured, as they called me, one godless woman. They used that label. And unfortunately, it's being turned against me. My own name that I've chosen, that they abused me using this name. And now here in the West, unfortunately, it's being abused again. So Marcus Tanback, West has been shamed to look down on Christianity and its roots, but not Islam. Islam has been given a free pass. This means the Islamists have been able to sell it as they please. And this is very true. This is true. The victimhood narrative is not used by Muslims, and I want to clarify this. The average moderate Muslim does not engage in this victimhood obsession. Some might, the young ones, the ones that are just lost, But this narrative is pumped by Islamists, not Muslims. The victimhood narrative is pumped by the Islamists, because that's how the entryism that is done into foreign countries and government, deception, victimhood. The main tactics that are used. What else? Patrick K. No fascination here. Have no respect for any religion that would treat another human being lower than dirt. Yeah. That's good, thank you. And, Strong Angel. Hello, one godless woman. You are a beautiful woman. Thank you. Genetics show that women are designed to leave their families and go at it alone, creating a new family of their own. Forget Islam, think of yourself. Oh, I forgot Islam a long time ago. I'm all good. But all I do is, that's another thing I should probably mention. People seem to think that I'm obsessed with Islam. I'm not. Not obsessed with Islam at all. I go about my day with zero Islam. The reason I constantly speak and engage about this is to educate the West. That's the only reason. I am not obsessed with the ideology. Couldn't be less obsessed, actually. All right. What else? What else? Solving politics. The term you are looking for is cry bullies. Oh, I never heard that term. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Absolutely. Victoria Winter. Early Muslim settlers in Canada did not wear a hijab. Moderate Muslims wouldn't wear hijab. Some might, just for fun, just, trial period, and then take it off. Islamists are the ones that are obsessed with hijab. Women and men, both. Islamists are women and men, guys, not just men. You see the women that are obsessed, the accounts on TikTok that I'm talking about are all women. Those are Islamists' accounts. What else? Suzanne, I don't know what it is with... when I was on TikTok, I put out a couple of videos. explaining that I lived, you know, an oppressive life, misogynistic existence under Islam in Saudi Arabia. The hijab was forced on me. I couldn't take it off. I talked about all this, and then I kind of talked back to the women, because there's women, Canadian women on TikTok, saying that the hijab is beautiful, and they're shaming the people who are trashing the hijab, and they're defending it. These are women who are the epitome of ignorance. So when I did a video on TikTok addressing these women, my account was I was mass reported by jihadis who think they own TikTok, and my account was banned. This happened in a week. Actually in less than a week, my account was banned. And then the jihadis followed me through platforms into Instagram and YouTube. And they started, I swear, every time I go into Instagram, there is an attack, like a mention with like caps, all caps, you, and blah, 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 and women and men defending Islam. And I'm like, well, okay. I think this is now week 2, and they're still screaming and screeching at me on different platforms. They can't debate. You can't debate. This is this attack, method of attack, constant. This means that there's, I guess, I don't know, there's no civility, there's no opinion, there's no diversity of thought. You know, where's the diversity in Islam? Can we not have different opinions? Must we all wear hijab? Must it all be, you know, must it be our choice? By force. It has to be our choice. Can't say no. So they contradict themselves. You know, it's a choice, but you can't say no to it. All right, whatever. Sheila Gibson. Many have made religion their God. Well, many speak in the name of God, which I find fascinating. The Islamists that like to speak in the name of God, I want to know how Allah communicates with them. Does he like text at night when they're asleep? Do some Islamists pose as moderate Muslims? Yes. You'd be shocked, actually, how many pose as moderate Muslims. A moderate Muslim is not going to come out and say, I'm a moderate Muslim. You can diagnose a moderate Muslim because they're not in your political sphere. All the people in your political sphere pumping Islam, those are Islamists. Moderate Muslims are doing their own thing. They're out there having fun, partying, traveling. Islam is not their focus. Shazia in over a year. Are you in touch with her? Say hi to me, please. She got booted off of Twitter, then I got booted off of Twitter, then that was the end of it. She went to Gab, I think. I don't like Gab. I'm not on Gab. Oh yes, the TV show Caliphate. Are you guys watching that? Please watch that. It discloses a lot. You will learn a lot about what's going on, about the internal dynamics of Islamists if you watch that show. Please watch it, because my next video that I'm going to be putting out on my main channel is going to be about Caliphate on Netflix. I'm actually shocked that that show is being aired on Netflix. All right, Marcus Tanbeck. Indeed, one godless woman, many Western Muslims are not subscribers of Orthodox Islam at all. No. And this, I don't want to start talking outside of the topic, but migration, the term migration, when Trudeau changed, I don't know if it was Trudeau or not, somebody decided that it's time to change the word immigration into migration. When I hear the word migration, I immediately think Islamic conquest. Automatically. Because that's how Islamists do their work. When they start invading countries, it's called migration. Now there's a video on my One Godless Woman channel that I did early on. I did it a year ago. let me see if I can find it and try to link it to this stream. But I actually spoke of the first Muslim migration to Habasha in Ethiopia, and the King Najashi, who was there, who turned his entire country, which was Christian, into Islamic, after a group of, I can't remember, 60 or 80 Islamists went there through migration and presented themselves as refugees to the King Najashi. So that is what I know about Islam. So when I hear the term migration, something else comes to mind. Whereas Canadians are like, yeah, let's change it from immigration to migration. Not all. Captain Brandon Harlover, what do you think of the goofball Morn Trudeau? I was also going to ask my dearest friend. Trudeau is a mascot. I don't like Trudeau. My blood pressure goes up when I hear him. How does this man have a wife and children? He can't string a sentence together. Like, what did he do? Who helped him get married? Was it arranged? Did the mullahs arrange his marriage for him? The man can't talk. Or was it the silky hair? Did Sophie fall in love with the silky hair? Rob379, please provide a shout out to my mother, Irmgard. Okay, I can't pronounce that, but I'll give her a shout out to your mom. How are you, Mom? What else do you guys have for me? Ask away. Or should I end the stream? What do you guys think? Has anyone tried to donate? I don't see any donations. I wonder if the super chat is working. All right, will you do that? What else? I see something. 1 second. The constant attacks is the politics of the victims, to be heard by the respective Western governments to strengthen their cause and advance their ideology. Yeah, that's pretty much how they work. Like, for people like me know what's going on. Canada's a big country with, I don't know, what's the population, 38 million, 37 million? Not everyone knows. Not everyone. There are people that see the victimhood cries and believe them. And call me names. Because I'm the bad one. Right? Marcus Tanbeck, what is something we can do to help organize a community for ex-Muslims? I don't know. Honestly, it needs education. You guys need education right now in the West. And as long as we have this mainstream media pumping this absolute garbage and lies, and like, we need, the mainstream media needs to just F off. Education needs to get fixed. Public schools, like, honestly, so much needs to get done. Start with your family unit, guys. Education starts from inside your home. Start educating your kids, your families, and then go out from there. Expand from there. Right? I'm doing what I can, but, you know, I get called whatever, Islamophobe, thought. Who knows? People like to call me stuff. Assyrian King. Assyrian King says... Oh, no, he's answering Marcus. Okay, that's fine. What else? What else? What else? Anything else, guys? Do you have any requests or questions? Or so my Subscribe Star, thank you guys, everyone who has been supporting my work. My Subscribe Star is there. Feel free to join. I am putting exclusive content in Subscribe Star that is not available on my other platforms, okay? What else? And I think my GoFundMe campaign is still active for those who wanted to support my work. Assyrian King. Again, this sister is right. She is talking from my heart. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Wu Tsang. What are your thoughts on Western converts? I feel they're dumb. They're gonna pay. Listen. When they wake up, I'm not gonna be there to help, and they will wake up. Especially the women that are converting into this ideology. What a shame. What a shame. By the way, guys, I'm sorry. I know I'm missing comments. I have 3 windows open in front of me, and the chat keeps the chat keeps escaping me. Please forgive me. I do my best. Solving politics. Please quit calling the media mainstream. They are the world's most corrupt big business. Yeah, I agree. Leftists call people racist because they cannot compete with ideas. Yeah. When you can't compete with ideas, when you want to shut down an idea, you call people names and you attack them and you mob them. And who does this? The left and Islamists both do this. Unless they behave like wild animals. You know how wild animals go in packs, right? They attack one deer, one innocent deer as a pack. That's how it works. When am I coming to Alberta? Oh, that's a very good question, Suzanne. Right now, I wish I had a date, but all I can tell you is that as soon as this quarantine or lockdown is lifted, the minute it's lifted, I'm booking a ticket and flying out. So hold on, everyone who's bought tickets to come see me, hold on to those, because I'm coming. It's just a matter of time. You know, gotta love it for this lockdown to happen when I'm supposed to come out to Alberta. Gotta love it. What else? What else are you guys saying? Coiled steel. Don't feel sorry for those ISIS brides from the West who volunteered to be ISIS brides. Yeah, that is dealt with in that show, that series that's called Caliphate. It's interesting. Now, when I was watching the show, my heart rate was, oh my gosh, I went through all kinds of emotions watching that show. Be interesting to hear what you guys feel watching that series, and if you guys feel the excitement and the anticipation that I felt, because I lived in this and I know these scenarios and I know how it feels. But yeah. What else are you guys saying? Solving politics. Thank you. I love this lady. She can post her content on my channel anytime. I wouldn't want your channel to get a strike. But thank you. Lovely to hear from you again. Keep smiling and wishing you lots of happiness. Thank you, my dear. Well, guys, I think that's it. In the end, please share. Share my content. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. Share it with your community. Subscribe to my subscribe star. And understand that what I am doing is education as well. People wake up with education. So please share my content, and thank you so much. I love you all.